skincare nerds, welcome back. So if you're curious about the Ordinary's Buffet Serum or the Buffet with Copper Peptide Serum, but you're just not sure about peptides in general, or if you're not sure whether the Copper Peptides version is worth twice the price, I'm gonna help you figure that out today and we're gonna talk about it. So before we get into it, I just wanted to say, give your girl a like and subscribe and hit the notification bell because it really does help. Okay, so before we get into it, let's just talk about the brand really quickly. It's no secret that I love The Ordinary. I've always loved their clinical looking packaging and their scientific sounding product names. And I also can't really talk about The Ordinary without talking about their prices. I was totally shocked when I discovered them a few years ago and realized how cheap their products are. A lot of their products are really affordable because of their single ingredient driven approach without anything extra added in. That means they don't usually include multiple actives into one product, and they don't focus too much on sensorials like texture enhancing, and that just makes it so much faster for them to come up with new products. They're like the opposite of extra, and I really like their ingredient focused approach. And there's just less time and money spent on marketing the function of the product and naming it. They kind of just bottle up the raw ingredient technologies that they get from their supplier and put them in a really simple solution or suspension. But I really love that they don't try and hide that fact by saying it's some kind of magic potion that's gonna cure all your skincare issues. They are so transparent, and they're one of the first brands to actually disclose the percentage of actives that are in their ingredient formulations. I just thought that was really refreshing because I think a lot of established brands would say that they have some really proprietary formula that was their trade secret and charge hundreds of dollars for something. But now it's so much harder for them to get away with that kind of thing because Serum came along and launched The Ordinary and said, hey, we have 10% of this active ingredient in our product, and by the way, it's only $10. So I just thought that was really groundbreaking and really great for the skincare industry. And it seems like a lot of you agree as well because The Ordinary is just doing so well. A lot of you guys don't know this, but The Ordinary offers a 365-day return policy. It's really great that you can return it if you have a receipt and you haven't used up more than 50% of the product. And since it's my channel, let's talk about whether it's vegan, cruelty-free, and sustainable. So most of their products are vegan, but not 100% of them are. But don't worry, both of the products I talk about today are completely vegan. As for the cruelty-free question, their parent company Serum says none of their brands test on animals, so they are cruelty-free. As for the sustainable factor, I think that they could improve on that. They say themselves they are not sustainable, but that's something they're trying to change. So they've switched to using carbon neutral cardstock for their packaging, and they have an in-store recycling empties program. The empties recycling program is really great because they accept empties from all beauty brands, not just their own. Okay, so now that we've talked about the brand, let's talk about the two buffet serums. I just wanted to say that I bought both of these products with my own money, and this is my honest opinion. So let's start with the buffet. That's the vanilla version without copper peptides in it. We really can't talk about this serum without talking about peptides first because there are a ton of peptides in here. So what are peptides and what do they do for your skin? Well, peptides are short chains of amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins in your skin like collagen, elastin, and keratin. These proteins are kind of like the foundations of your skin, and it's what gives it texture, bounce, and firmness, which is what makes your skin look better. So there's good news and not so good news. Let's talk about the good news first. So there are lots of different types of peptides, but let's talk about the collagen signaling ones because that's what the Ordinary's products are focused on. When you apply these peptides to your skin, they're basically thought to trick your skin into thinking that it's lost collagen and needs to make more, which would make your skin look more bouncy and firm. So that's really good news. They're also not super intense and usually won't cause any irritation, unlike retinoids, and you really can't overdo them, unlike acids. But like with any skincare product, you can have a reaction to it. It's just very, very unlikely. But now for the not so good news. I want to be upfront that these are not miracle ingredients. There are a few promising studies out there that show that peptides may improve the look of skin aging, but they are limited. Another thing is that peptides are very, very delicate ingredients. They can break apart, so there are some ingredients you don't want to use with them in the same routine. And don't worry, I'll totally go over that towards the end of the video. The last piece of not so great news is that peptides can take a while before you can see any results. They could take up to 3 to 6 months because your skin is literally building those proteins like collagen that we talked about earlier. All right, so now that we've gone through all that, let's finally dig into the Ordinary Buffet Serum. I'm really excited to talk about it because I think it's such a unique product in the Ordinary's lineup. Not only is it one of their more expensive products at $14.80, it's also one of the only 2 skincare products that doesn't have an ingredient-specific name, the other being the buffet with copper peptides. The name is actually meant to be a jab at other brands that overprice very similar products to this one. So this product has a mix of lots of different actives in the formula. Specifically, there are a bunch of peptide complexes, a probiotic complex, a bunch of hyaluronic acid complexes, and it's in a base of 11 amino acids. And all of that adds up to a total concentration of actives at 25.1%. So this isn't an oil-free serum, but it does give you hydration without any greasiness. And it's kind of got this like oily gel texture to it. And it's a bit gloopy. And it looks like it would be sticky, but it actually absorbs really well and dries down into a smooth kind of satiny like finish. But you kind of have to be sure to like spread it really well or else it can feel a little bit tacky. And as for the smell, this product is like any product from The Ordinary. There's no added fragrance because The Ordinary is totally not about that vibe. So it's also less likely to cause irritation if you have sensitive skin. It kind of just smells a little soury. And in terms of results, again, peptides take about 3 months before they really kick in, but you should start seeing some hydration pretty immediately with the glycerin and the hyaluronic acids in here. There's something in here called sodium hyaluronate cross-polymer, which is a hyaluronic acid complex with a molecular structure, which keeps it in the uppermost layers of your skin longer. So you should be seeing some pretty immediate hydration effects, especially if your skin is dehydrated. So all in all, I think this is a really great multi-ingredient formulation from The Ordinary. I really like it. I mean, it's got 25% of actives in it, and it's really great if you're looking for some hydration and something to help with premature aging. All right, so let's move on to the copper peptides version of the Buffet Serum. So I believe that this is the most expensive product in the entire Ordinary line. It's $28.90. And you're probably wondering, why is it so expensive? And what's the difference between this product and the regular version of the Buffet Serum without the copper peptides? So is it worth that extra $14? Well, we can't really talk about that without talking about copper peptides first. So what are copper peptides? Well, first, they can be naturally found in your body, like in your saliva, and they aren't actually copper. They're actually peptides with a really strong attraction to copper. There's good and bad news with copper peptides as well. Let's start with the good news. So copper peptides is a building block of collagen, and copper is involved in collagen production. So if you're looking for that bouncy and firmer skin, it's thought that copper peptides will help because it is a building block for collagen, which is what gives you that bouncy firmness. But the not so good news is that there really haven't been that many studies done on humans, and the studies that have been done are pretty small in size. We're talking under 100 volunteers here, so there just isn't that much research available on it yet. Okay, so now that we've gone through what copper peptides are and the good and bad news about it, let's get back to The Ordinary's Buffet Serum with copper peptides. So this version of the serum is almost the same thing, but it's got an added 1% concentration of pure copper peptides, bringing the total concentration of actives in this formula to 26.1%, which is 1% more than the regular buffet version of it. So the copper peptides is what gives the serum a natural blue tint to it. And it's also what gives it that slightly metallic smell to it. So if you have a really sensitive nose and you don't like metallic smells, you might not like this. I also wanted to point out a few other smaller differences between this and the vanilla version of the buffet serum. So this is oil-free and it's in an amber colored bottle that helps keep the formula stable and effective. It's also more of a watery gel formulation, but it's still a bit gloopy like the regular buffet serum. So it does take a bit longer to dry and absorb. And if you don't spread it well, it does feel a little bit tacky on your skin. So I think that gloofiness comes from the hyaluronic acids in here. It's got the same hydrating ingredients like the glycerin and the hyaluronic acid complexes I mentioned earlier. And that's gonna give your skin some TLC if your skin is dehydrated. So I really like this serum. I like the added copper peptides in here, and I really love the natural blue color that's in this. And I think it's really great value compared to some other products with copper peptides, which is really hard to find to begin with. Again, I really like this serum. I use it every other night, and you can probably tell that I'm almost finished this bottle already. In fact, I think it's really on its final legs. Okay, so before I wrap up, I did mention close to the beginning of the video that because peptides are so delicate, I'd go over how to mix peptides into your routine. This is really important to remember, so if you are gonna use these two products, make sure you take a screenshot if you need. Let's talk about what you should never mix it with first. Okay, let's start with vitamin C. So don't use peptides in the same routine as pure vitamin C, also known as L-ascorbic acid, or its ethylated form, also known as ethylated L-ascorbic acid. You can use peptides both morning and night, but I normally use my vitamin C serum in the morning because it helps boost your sunscreen's effectiveness, so I'll then use my peptide serum at night. Now onto acids. So acids like AHAs will reduce the effectiveness of peptides because of their acidity. That acidity can cause the peptides to break apart, so I definitely wouldn't use them in the same routine. That includes the Ordinary's own glycolic acid toning solution, so I would recommend kind of alternating different nights between that toner or another exfoliating acid and your peptide serum. Now let's talk about the things you can and should mix it with. So you absolutely can mix them in the same routine as retinoids. And you totally should if premature aging is something that you're worried about preventing. Just don't add them both at the same time, please, to make sure that you give your skin a little bit of a break and that your skin can get used to them. Introduce one, then the other. And remember, skincare nerds, always be sunscreening. Okay, so what are my final thoughts? So even though there hasn't really been as much research on peptides, and especially copper peptides as some brands claim, I think that since it's pretty non-irritating and it plays really well with retinol, especially when it comes to premature aging, so if you are worried about premature aging and preventing that, then it really doesn't hurt to add peptides into your routine. And as for the two Ordinary peptide serums, the Buffet and the Buffet with copper peptides, I personally like the Ordinary Buffet with copper peptide serum better. I know it's double the price, but I really like that it's oil-free and you get that 1% extra of the copper peptides in here, which I think makes it really great value, especially when you compare it to other serums with copper peptides in it, like Niod's own CAIS2 and the Dr. Roebuck's Ningaloo serum. I think I pronounced that right? But if you're on a budget and you're not 100% sure about peptides, but you do want to try them, and you don't mind that it's not oil-free, then the Buffet on its own is a really, really affordable multi-peptide serum. it's a really great multi-peptide serum, especially at that price. It's super affordable. And it's a great way to try peptides. All right, that's it from me. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope that this video was helpful for you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any informative skincare videos like this one. See you next time.